Kayleigh McEnany's latest photos are turning heads, and for good reason. Known for her sharp wit and unapologetic confidence, these stunning visuals showcase a side of her you've rarely seen before. But there's more to this than just striking looks. These photos represent something bigger. They reflect a transformation, a message, and a bold statement about who she is today. Before we dive deeper, here's why you'll want to stick around. By the end of this video, you'll understand the power behind these images and why they've got everyone talking, not just her fans, but even her critics. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming. So who is Kayleigh McEnany, really? You might know her as the fearless former White House press secretary or a familiar face in conservative media. But behind the polished persona is a journey of ambition, challenges, and triumphs that shaped her into the force she is today. To truly grasp the significance of her new photos, you need to know where it all started. Stay with me, because every detail reveals more about the unstoppable energy behind these images. And by the end of this video, you'll see Kayleigh McEnany in a whole new light. Kayleigh McEnany is more than just a political figure. She's a symbol of resilience and determination. Born in Tampa, Florida in 1988, her story began in a family that emphasized hard work and values. Growing up, she attended the Academy of the Holy Names, a private Catholic school where she stood out as a diligent and ambitious student. Even as a teenager, Kayleigh wasn't afraid to aim high, setting her sights on a future that would make a mark. Her education speaks volumes about her drive. Kayleigh earned her bachelor's degree in international politics from Georgetown University's School of Foreign Service, a prestigious institution known for producing world leaders. But she didn't stop there. She pursued further studies at Oxford University, sharpening her understanding of global issues. Then, as if that wasn't enough, she graduated from Harvard Law School with a Juris Doctor in 2016. It's a background that screams one thing: she was preparing for something big. But here's the twist: despite her academic brilliance, Kayleigh's path wasn't traditional. She jumped headfirst into the world of politics and media, where she began carving out a name for herself. Volunteering for George W. Bush's re-election campaign while still in high school set the tone for her career. From there, she interned at the White House and worked as a producer for Mike Huckabee's show, proving she wasn't afraid to hustle to get where she wanted to be. Now think about this for a second. Someone with her credentials could have chosen any path. Yet she chose the most high-stakes arenas: politics and media fields, where every word and decision are scrutinized. These early experiences laid the foundation for the bold, unapologetic figure we see today. And that brings us closer to understanding why her new photos are so significant. They aren't just beautiful, they're a reminder of her journey, her grit, and the layers of her personality that continue to evolve. But there's even more to the story. In the next section, we'll break down the pivotal moments that took her from a young political enthusiast to one of the most talked about women in media. Kayleigh McEnany's career is a masterclass in bold moves and strategic choices. She didn't just stumble into the spotlight, she fought for it, starting from the ground up. Her early days volunteering for George W. Bush's re-election campaign gave her a front-row seat to the world of high-stakes politics. It wasn't long before she took bigger strides, interning at the White House during his presidency. Imagine being a young woman surrounded by the nation's top decision-makers. For Kayleigh, this was just the beginning. Her big break came when she stepped into the media world. As a right-wing commentator, she wasn't afraid to voice her opinions, even when it meant going toe-to-toe with critics. Her appearances on CNN during the 2016 presidential campaign were fiery, full of heated debates, and impossible to ignore. These moments established her as someone who could hold her ground under intense pressure, making her a standout figure in a crowded field of political voices. In 2017, Kayleigh took her talents to the Republican National Committee as their national spokesperson. But her ambition didn't stop there. By 2020, she was appointed the National Press Secretary for Trump's re-election campaign, a role that set her up for an even bigger challenge. That challenge came on April 7, 2020, when she was named White House Press Secretary. At just 32 years old, Kayleigh stepped into one of the most scrutinized jobs in American politics. Her tenure was anything but quiet. She became known for her sharp, confrontational style during press briefings, standing firm even when faced with tough questions and relentless criticism. Whether you admired her or disagreed with her, there was no denying her presence. But here's the kicker: all these moments weren't just about politics. They were about building a persona, a mix of intelligence, resilience, and unapologetic confidence. These qualities shine through in her new photos, which seem to say, "This is who I am." Take it or leave it. There's one more layer to her story that makes these photos even more intriguing. In the next section, we'll explore how her role as White House press secretary shaped public perception and created the legacy she carries today. Stay tuned, because this is where it gets even more fascinating. When Kayleigh McEnany stepped into the role of White House press secretary in April 2020, the stakes couldn't have been higher. The world was in the grip of a pandemic, political tensions were boiling over, and the media spotlight was unrelenting. Yet Kayleigh walked into that press room with unwavering confidence and a stack of prepared responses, ready for the firestorm. Her tenure became infamous for its intensity. Kayleigh wasn't the type to shy away from controversy. She tackled questions head-on, often flipping the narrative and challenging the media with sharp rebuttals. Whether it was defending the Trump administration's response to COVID-19 or addressing contentious issues like race relations, she stood her ground. For her supporters, she was a fearless defender of conservative values. For her critics, she was a lightning rod of controversy. One of her most memorable moments came during a press briefing where she boldly stated, "I will never lie to you." That line became a defining statement of her time as press secretary. It sparked debates and set the tone for her combative approach with the press. Yet, this boldness wasn't without consequences. She faced backlash for making statements that some called misleading or overly defensive. But love her or hate her, Kayleigh's briefings were impossible to ignore. They were must-watch moments. Even with the criticism, her supporters admired her grit. She represented a different kind of political figure, someone who could take the punches, throw a few of her own, and come out of the ring without a scratch. This resilience is part of what makes her new photos so captivating. They don't just showcase her beauty, they symbolize a woman who has faced immense challenges and stood tall through it all. But what happens after the spotlight fades? How does someone who thrived in such a high-pressure role continue to shape their narrative? That's what makes her post-White House career and these photos so fascinating. In the final section, we'll uncover how Kayleigh McEnany has evolved since leaving the White House and why these photos are not just stunning but deeply symbolic. Stick around, you're about to see the full picture. After leaving the White House in January 2021, many wondered what Kayleigh McEnany's next move would be. Would she step back from the limelight or stay in the arena? True to her bold persona, Kayleigh chose to remain a prominent voice in conservative media, joining Fox News as a co-host on Outnumbered. This move allowed her to continue influencing public conversations, now as a media figure rather than a government official. Her post-White House career shows a woman who refuses to be boxed in. Whether she's analyzing political events or offering her perspective on cultural issues, Kayleigh's ability to command attention hasn't wavered. Her new photos capture that energy perfectly. They tell a story of someone who has weathered the storms and emerged stronger. They're not just visuals, they're statements, a celebration of confidence, transformation, and resilience. But here's the real reason these photos are making waves. They show Kayleigh as more than just a political figure. They reveal her as a multidimensional person, strong, unapologetic, and undeniably influential. It's a side of her that inspires both admiration and curiosity, making her one of the most compelling figures in the conservative landscape today. Now, here's why this all matters. Kayleigh McEnany's story isn't just about politics or media. It's about a woman who has continuously adapted, grown, and thrived, no matter the circumstances. Her latest photos are a testament to that journey, a visual representation of her evolution from a determined young woman in Tampa to a powerhouse in the political and media world. Before you go, think about this. What can you take away from Kayleigh's story? Whether it's her grit, her confidence, or her ability to own every moment, there's a lesson for all of us. If these photos have sparked something in you, keep that spark alive. Pursue your goals, stay resilient, and remember you're capable of incredible things. 2. Thank you for watching. If Kayleigh McEnany's story or these photos resonate with you, share this video with someone who needs a little inspiration today. Let's keep the conversation going.